everyone. Hey, congratulations on your new film, Ghost Game.
Thank you so much.
This is such a is one of those films that we love to watch as a guilty pleasure on a Friday or Saturday night. It's one of those late night movies that we just love to curl up and watch. But let me throw the first question to you, Jill, is where the original idea came from.
Um, well, it was written by Adam Caesar, who is more known for his horror novels, his Clown in the Cornfield series. Um, so I can't totally speak on like where it to came from in the beginning, but I was just so attracted to the idea because I loved how it was like a home invasion colliding into your classic haunted house movie, while also being our protagonist being the invaders. I do love a film where the bad guy is our main character. So yeah.
Most excellent. Kia Zane, tell us what initially drew you that you wanted to be part of this project.
For me, it was different than anything else I had been a part of as an actor. A very challenging role. Laura is just a wild card, and I was like, "Yeah, I want to do that. Why not? She looks fun." So I auditioned and booked the role, and I was like, "All right, let's play. Let's have this opportunity to just play around and see what we create."
Well, you, Zane.
Um, for me, I read the description when I was auditioning, and I generally steered clear of horror. But when I read this, and I was like, wait, this sounds fun. Like this sounds like something that could be really fun to shoot. And then I auditioned. I got the audition. I read the script, and I was like, oh yeah, that's like when I started to really get excited because th this is like my first horror project, so I didn't really know what to expect. But uh, definitely when I read that script, like a flip switched, I was like, okay, I like horror now.
Really? Zane, tell us why you were initially hesitant to do horror yourself.
It's a stupid reason, but I'll tell you, you can't laugh. So when I was younger, I used to watch a lot of movies just with my family. And one day my brother put Insidious on, and I was like 9, and like it terrified me so much. There was like this weird creature that had like glowing eyes, and I just remember crying when I saw that scene. And ever since then, like I didn't really get into horror that much. Maybe like the classics like Halloween or Chucky or Friday the 13th, stuff like that I could do, but honestly, ever since that night, I just I knew horror movies weren't for me.
Hell yeah, Insidious.
I had a similar experience, Zane. My cousins, when I was little, had the Chucky doll, and I remember them torturing me with it. And I was like, nope, this is a big no-no. I don't like this.
It, it it's terrible. Like even I personally know I was like, this stuff isn't real, but it still scared me. That's what kind of irritated me. Like this isn't gonna come get me, but I'm still scared.
Jill, one of the best things about this film is how you managed to use the production sets and cinematography to develop this horror setting. But first, let's address the other character here, the haunted house. Tell us about this haunted house and how you perfectly crafted to make it so set the mood so spooky in its own way for this season.
Yeah, well, when our producers found that the house that's in the film, it was like a dream come true. They sent me the pictures of it and they were like, I know it's not exactly the house in the script, but what about this one? I'm like, this is a freaking dream come true. I expected at best case we would just find some old normal house, normal sized house, not like a epic mansion from like 400 years ago. Um, so yeah, the house itself was incredible, and the script was so specific as far as location in the house that we kind of had to rewrite it. And I was rewriting it in the middle of shooting it because of things not making sense. Um, but it was a lot of, sitting down with my production designer, Jen Davis, and our DP, Justin Brooks, to create this whole look. I first created a big lookbook full of like a gazillion images from other films of kind of the vision I wanted to go for. And also then Jen and I discussed we made up our own history of the house involving the script and like when do we think that family was alive so she would know how to find the set pieces from the right era. And and also like when do we think the last time someone lived in the house was. So it was like a lot going into it. And our gaffer too, Nate Airy, I want to shout out. I know Justin and Nate and Jen just made the film look so frick with the house already being amazing and then them elevating it. It was awesome. But and it was a lot of work.
Kia Zane, what's your experience working with that house, running around all over the place? What was it truly creepy in person?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's
Absolutely.
the perfect, like, think of your perfect stereotype for a haunted house. It's exactly what it was. You'd go up the stairs, you'd be like, "Rrr, rrr, rrr." um, cobwebs everywhere. Like, even standing outside of, like, we shot one scene outside of the house where we were like in these bushes, and I was just looking at the house before we started shooting, and it looked so scary. I was just almost like admiring it at that point. I was looking at it and I was like, this looks exactly how I would imagine a haunted house would look like.
Yeah, yeah, especially with the lights, what Nate created with the lighting. Looking at the house too, it had this like eerie green white glow to it, looking at from the bushes. But no, the house was definitely terrifying. I was terrified probably day one, day two, and then I got a little used to it. But like Zane said, you'd step somewhere and it would make a noise, and you're like, "What is that? Who's there? Who's listening? Who's watching? Who's following?" And it was huge. So I would get lost. It took me probably the first week to get used to the house, like the rooms. They're like, okay, we're shooting in the living room. I'm like, how do I get there? Which staircase do I go down? Where do I go? What am I doing? The big house.
So as actors, how much does the environment help out with your acting in this case?
A
Um,
lot.
Very much. Yeah. Yeah. It definitely added to any terror. If Laura was terrified, it was Kia. Like that was Kia coming through. The environment definitely helped.
Jill, was there certain challenges filming in this house, particularly with lighting and the maze of rooms and hallways that you have to navigate through?
So yeah, oh my God, yes, so challenging. In fact, when I like my first scout of it, when I got in town, I had to kind of go through and figure out which room in this house is going to play each room in the script because they're ordered in a way that they aren't really in the actual house. And then I had to take into account certain like a room I wanted to make a bedroom. Would this work? Will we be able to light through? They want to do lights through the windows. We had this giant crane outside, and it's like a 5-story house. So there were some bedrooms I wanted to use that I was worried, is this too high? I need all my tech people to tell me if this is even possible. Um, so there's a lot of that. Then, um, because we're also in a low budget, we were thinking maybe we'd even shoot day for night. Absolutely impossible with all those windows. Um, but then we had this issue of the bathtub is a major motif in the movie. Lots of stuff going on with our bathtubs, and the water that came out of the actual faucet was ice effing cold, and we had to put like three or I think four of our actors in the tub at one point. So we had our like PAs, praise to the PAs, carrying pots of boiled water safely up the stairs, dumping it. It took like, I don't know, hours, days to fill the tub to make it warm for the actors. So many challenges in a big old house. Like, but I personally like really romanticize shooting in a real place. I do understand all the great benefits from a studio or a stage when you can just move a wall out of your way and put the camera anywhere. But I love real places, even though it's very challenging in so many ways.
Kia Zane, the as you know that with the house itself, it does it pose challenges as actors, running around. I'm not even sure how dark or how lit it is, or with the or whether these doors are stuck and you have to do your own stunts trying to open the doors. I mean, what did you had to face? Obviously not the bathtub.
Well, luckily I wasn't one of the actors who had to get in the tub, so I'm very grateful. But no, I think because of the way it was shot, we didn't have to go from room to room without cutting and moving. So I didn't experience any challenges in that way. I think the only challenge I experienced was going into the basement by myself with the whole cast and crew standing outside, and I was left alone in the basement with just a flashlight and my glowing mask. I did not like that. That was terrifying. But other than that, no, I didn't. I mean, doing my stunts, that was fun. That was a lot of fun, actually. Shout out to Dan, who helped us with all of our stunts. He was our stunt coordinator. But no, I didn't really have any super challenges like that with the house.
Yeah, I was just gonna add that if anything, I feel like the house really helped with our performance because we'd be like sneaking around and then you'd hear the creaks and you'd know like, oh, I gotta slow down. I'm making too much noise. So even though like what's going on isn't real, it's like you're still getting the same effects from your environment because we're actually in an old house.
What about donning those masks? Did that actually help you out with your acting, or was that kind of challenging in its own way?
No, I
Yeah,
love.
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I loved my mask. I feel like putting it on elevated me personally with Laura, um, because it gave me not something to hide behind, but just something to use. Um, yeah, go Zane.
So there was two things I really liked about the masks. The first one was when you'd be like running around in the house or you have a scene where you're constantly moving. It's genuinely hard to breathe when you're moving a lot in there. So it's like it's making it more realistic. You're actually out of breath. And the second thing was when and this is my personal favorite, when we would get into a room where we can take our masks off. If I'm like angry or something, I'm just not feeling right, I'd take it off with like some attitude. I'd be like, what's wrong with y'all?
Gave you something to play with.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, yeah, at first we were worried about I was worried about the logistics also of, are we going to hear them when they speak and they wear their masks so much in the movie? Um, and then the creating of the mask was hard. I've got their mask behind me. I was so excited once I saw Kia's though, especially, and how it glows in the, dark basement the first time we see it is like one of my favorite moments in the movie.
Most excellent. And Jill, finally, let's talk about the cinematography, the decision to use different types of camera work, particularly, like the found footage in its own case. Tell us how you pulled this off.
I'm not even sure. Oh, knock my whole table over. I'm not even sure how we pulled it off. It was, yeah, it was so many like layers of storytelling in it. Once I realized, yeah, how much we needed to shoot, even that just appears like on our Ghost Gamers computers when they open it up of all their feeds of cameras in the house. That's a whole another day of shooting. A lot of that, was written in the script that way that we would have. I really loved that the film was kind of like it bookended with found footage moments and that it was like sprinkled through the movie. And then with the outside of the found footage element, all the cinematography between there, we did a mix of like, controlled photography with a lot of handheld. And the idea with that was we would switch, a lot of it would be handheld, which is something I haven't done a lot of because so much of this film is like we don't know what's coming. Even our ghost gamers don't know what's coming. It's like in the middle of this, like anything could happen. So I felt like the camera should just follow them and be free versus being like super, super controlled and save that for the moments like with the family before things start going wrong. And then once it starts to go wrong for them, we switch to handheld too. I like to try to use that stuff to, tell the story further.
One of your producers, Eduardo Sanchez, was a director on the Blair Witch Project. Did he give you some tips on this?
It was such a dream to work with Ed, and especially when I saw the found footage stuff in the script, I was like, this is meant to be. Everything is in this movie. There's even like a hairstylist reference in it when he's like stealing her hair. Um, but yeah, I mean, Ed was helping through he gave me advice on the whole every step of this film. And he was with us on set a lot. But yeah, he was especially there when we shot a lot of this found footage stuff.
Let me throw the last questions to the actors. You know, one of the things about a film like this with so many different cameras and so many different takes and perspectives. What was it more fun and challenging for you to get your cues from all these different types of camera takes?
No, not necessarily. I mean, I feel like as soon as we said action, we would just do whatever we needed to do. Um, I think when I don't know, Justin was great. He would say, you're standing on your mark or you're not on your mark. Move over a little bit. We're trying to light you this way, but I don't feel like there were any challenges with the different cameras that we used. I think it was normal for us. I don't know. What do you
We
think?
we had really good we had a really good connection, so I feel like everything went really smooth. And when you weren't, let's say you weren't on your mark, they'd let you know you're not on your mark, and then we'd get right back to it. Everybody was really friendly and nice, and everybody was on top of their game. And I think that is what made it so almost like flawless, where we rarely had any issues. Um, Everything was really routine.
I
Well
would
said.
the most unique part I'm just thinking about because most of it was shot traditional with
Yeah.
the camera. And then but we did do the opening scene actually with their GoPros attached to the actors. So that was interesting of making sure like if we actually shoot it this way, is it going to capture anything or like the action that we need? Um,
Yeah.
so that part was interesting to do.
But I think that might have been our only moment of, you know,
Yeah.
for us at least, with our blocking, having a non-traditional camera with the GoPro in that first scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty simple for us.
Well, nonetheless, it's a fun movie, and we really appreciate you speaking to us about Ghost Game. It's a lot of fun. A lot of people should definitely watch it because you folks look genuinely scared in the film, and goodness, Ghost Game doesn't exist, or does it? So, well, people will have to watch the film. So, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Thanks.
much.